Are energetic attachments affecting your spiritual practice? That's what we're talking about today, and determining how do you know if energetic attachments real or are they your emotions? We're going to talk about those two key factors today because for anyone who is a holistic practitioner, who's a spiritual practitioner, who's a coach, who's a therapist, who's an energetic teacher, a massage therapist, an energy healer, anyone who works with others in a truly intimate and healing way. Energetic exchange happens in every single moment. And so it's incredibly beneficial to understand how that energetic exchange is affecting especially your long term energy. Welcome to the Art of Tuning In podcast. I'm Dr. Maria Furlano. It's great to have you here today. Thank you for joining me. As you know, I teach energetic protection and I teach energy management to holistic and spiritual practitioners. And I also work privately as a coach with people who are wanting to restore their energy. So today, energetic attachments is a really passionate topic of mine because about 20 years ago, I was working as a massage therapist. I was specializing in injuries and I was also specializing with people who were working through real emotional issues. And so when you work with somebody through their body, it can also help, of course, physically, as you know, release the tension and release their body so that they can heal. But it also helps bring up emotions and release those emotions. And so I was around this all the time. Being extremely empathic myself, I was very much engaged in how people were feeling. And what I noticed was that I was going home with some of the same feelings physically, emotionally, and mentally that I had been working on with people during the day. And they were feeling great, and I was going home really depleted. And so there was a time when I considered not working with people anymore, which of course was really hard for me because I love what I do. This is my journey, my path. But I was just knowing that something was off. I was really lucky to meet teachers who taught me about energetic protection. And then my journey through medical Qigong and getting a doctorate in medical Qigong and practicing those protection techniques and understanding that it's not just about creating an energetic bubble, for example, but there are many levels that go along with building your physical fortification of energy, allowing that to radiate out into your fields, and being extremely in tune with what it is you're engaging with, meaning the other energy that you're engaging with. And so when I really dove into all of these techniques and understandings, and this was a 7 year process for me in the sense of my doctoral training was 4 years, and then I had 3 years of teaching internship. And so this allowed me to really look at all of the things that we learn as healing practitioners and that we don't learn as healing practitioners unless you go through very specific training. When we are engaging energy, we have to really understand that it's real. That even though we may not see it, there is an exchange, and energy has a frequency, has a vibration to it. It is resonating in a certain way. So, if you're around people who are dealing with, for example, a lot of sadness or depression or grief, or they're moving through a difficult phase in their life, they could also be in a lot of physical pain, but they could be in a lot of emotional pain as well. That is a frequency that is radiating out from them. And it's not a criticism, it's just what's happening when we're moving through our own stuff. So that frequency that's radiating around them, radiating out into their energy fields, when we connect with these people, especially when we work as a healer a therapist, a coach, counselor, a medium, a psychic, whatever it is that we're doing, we really connect in different ways than, let's say, just meeting somebody on the street or even just having coffee with them. Although, when you have that kind of intimate connection, you're still connecting energy. But what I'm really focusing on here is that you are someone who is holding a healing space for someone else. And during that healing space, there are absolutely connected cords that are created between the two of you. Even if you have beautiful boundaries and you have set your energetic space and you have understood alignment and your breathing and you know all of the tools that you should be engaging in before you're working with someone, you are still connecting with them during that treatment because you are both purely focused in a healing manner together. You are holding space together for a greater outcome of healing or transformation, transitioning. So that connection takes place. Now, the more the healer, coach, therapist, practitioner, person who is holding space for another, the more clear your energy is, the more clearing practices that you have in your life, the more you do understand how to set up your energetic space. Your physical body is fortified. You know how to hold your energetic boundary, which is different from a personal boundary. So, an energetic boundary is the boundary of energy that comes from your body because of the frequency that you have built up, meaning that whatever's resonating into your energy fields, it's there because you're cultivating your energy. And so it is strong, and you are holding that energetic boundary space so you can actually hold space for the session. You need to be at a stronger energetic resonance than the person you are helping in order to create change. Otherwise, you're both just exchanging back and forth. So, when you have all of those in place, all of those systems and setting up and allowing yourself to be in alignment, you have a certain element of energetic protection, but you're still connecting with each other. And when you're done in this time frame that you spend together, you must disconnect completely from the session that you had. And that's a different set of tools to use to disconnect that energy. And this is really important because when you're moving into your next appointment with another person, if you are not completely clearing your energy before you do that, you're dragging along everything that you just engaged in into the next session. And then you're dragging it along into the next session and the next section and the next session. And then maybe the next day, the next week. So you see, it just kind of pulls along with us. So again, when we're talking about frequency of attachments, we're talking about what is resonating in someone else's being. What are they carrying with them emotionally? What are they expressing? What are they needing to move through? That is out in the atmosphere. It's out. And our fields connect with each other. If we do not clear anything that doesn't get pushed off from having our good energetic protection set in place, anything that comes in that attaches to us needs to be cleared. It's exactly like we need to take a shower after playing in the dirt. We're not going to get dirt everywhere, but we're going to get dirt on certain areas, and it would be really good to just shower that off. That's really what it's like. So you don't always know unless you're tuning into yourself whether or not you are holding energy attachments. Once you learn how to tune in, once you learn how to do some clearing practices and you start really paying attention, then it becomes automatic. You just automatically begin to tune in with what's going on in your energy field, with what's going on in your body, with what's coming up in your emotions, and you know how to discharge that. So that brings us into, how do we know if it's us, if it's them, if it's another situation? How do we know if we're making it up in our heads? When we have an exchange with another person, an energy exchange. Now, this can be in a healing format, or it can be with a friend. Friendship, you're having breakfast, lunch, dinner, you're having coffee, you're talking on the phone, whatever it is, you have an energy exchange. When we are intensely connected with someone else, that energy exchange can often trigger things in ourselves that we haven't healed or that we're not quite okay with. So, one of the things as an energetic healer, as an energetic practitioner, that we're always trained in is to make sure that we're clearing up our own life, our own emotions, making sure that we're healing the things that we need to do in our life because we're also an evolving person. We're not perfect. And we're healing past things that we've been through. We're understanding, we're transforming ourselves. And then as we move through our daily life, we're still always becoming extremely consciously aware, emotionally aware of what's happening in our life. And if we can do that and keep up with it, and stay on top of it and not ignore it. It's just being aware. It's not meant to be exhausting. It's just meant to have a real conscious awareness and not ignore it. If we're doing that and we have practices such as medical Qigong and things to put in place that clear us physically, emotionally, and mentally, and etherically, spiritually, then we have a daily routine where we are keeping up with all the things that are happening in our life. So that then when we have an energetic exchange with a client or with a dear friend, with a family member, we are in our own being comfortable, safe, aligned. We're able to move into a more energetic, neutral place so that we're not ping ponging back and forth off of what's going on. And what I mean by ping ponging is that if we don't have our own energetic fortification set in place and we don't understand how to bring ourselves into neutral in every single exchange that we have, and this means personal and it means professional, our energy ping pongs back and forth with what is exchanged between yourself and another, or a group, or an event, or situation. Depending on how clean and clear your emotional state is, you can be activated by everything that's going on. So if you have not healed a hurt that is within you, if you have not healed confidence issues that are within you, if you have not healed grief that is within you, if you have not healed jealousy that is within you, these are all just examples, but it can be any emotion. If someone else that you're working with or that you're having a personal relationship with, if those energies in that person, grief, jealousy, anger, confidence, anxiety, all those things, if they are coming up in that person and you are not solid in alignment of understanding of who you are, where you are, what you've processed, and you can't move into more of that neutral place, you're just going to be reacting and responding emotionally to what they're going through because each frequency of emotion is bouncing off of each other. It's like you're triggering each other. The problem with that is that, especially if you're holding a professional place for someone else, you're there holding the space for them. You're holding the space for the healing, for the movement forward, so to speak. You can't do that if you're being emotionally triggered because you won't be able to go to energetic neutral. So sometimes what healing practitioners do, and this of course includes every range of a practitioner that's working with another, they start to block off parts of their emotional energy in their body. They start to compartmentalize how they feel in their own self, in their own life. And they create this space for themselves so that they can be there for someone else. But the problem with that is that they're not dealing with their own healing. There's still not a very clear channel for what's going on in this session. And when you have practitioners who tend to compartmentalize their feelings so that they can constantly be there for someone else, because they give and they give and they give and they work and they work and they work, because practitioners, they feel that there's a real calling to do this work. And so you are there for someone else. You are holding space in really difficult situations. And it's not just one, but it's one after another. So over time, as practitioners begin to compartmentalize their feelings, when they go home, they tend to crave sugar, crave alcohol, different kinds of drugs that will help put them in a space of just letting go, because the body has to let go. But it's not a healthy space to be in because they're still not dealing with their emotions. And now we're adding on top of it substances that really don't support the health of the body. So this is something that's very, very common. This is something that I was doing years and years ago, and not understanding that when I would eat certain foods or when I would have a drink or when there would be something, I was trying to cover up how tired I was or how emotionally drained I was. And just kind of thinking, well, this is kind of how it is. You know, you work with other people and this is how you feel. And that's not how it is. And it's not how it should be. So, the first thing that you want to get in the habit of doing is really paying attention to your own emotions and understanding what it is you have in your life to heal. And you'll know those things. So, for example, if you're someone who is dealing with grief or who has grief from a long time ago that they've never dealt with, that's still there. And it could be very deeply blocked, but draining your energy intensely. And if you learn to tune into that, and of course, get support if you need to and want to, because sometimes when we have blocked off things in our life and we have compartmentalized, sometimes we can't see them clearly. And we really do need another guide to help us to bring it up safely and comfortably and in love, and then move through them to release with different techniques and different practices. So it's very important to understand that you don't have to do all this alone, that you may need a guide to do it, but you want to be aware of it first. These emotions that you feel, you will know, is this coming from me because of the things that are in my life or the things that are in past my life? Or is this coming from the exchange that I had today with this client, another client, this person, this friend, this family member? Am I carrying the exchange of energy that I had today? There's two factors to that. Am I carrying the exchange of energy just in my energy fields and in my emotional and mental being? And if so, time to clear that. And or am I also carrying that energetic exchange today because it triggered something in me that I need to work on, that I need to heal? So it's actually very simple to determine if you are carrying energetic exchanges. Physically, it can be even more upfront. And so what I would notice is I might have some shoulder stuff going on when I came home, and it wasn't from overwork or overuse. It was actually the same kind of feelings that a person or a series of people that I worked on were dealing with. So it wasn't my own. That's when you take on a physical energy that has to be cleared out. All of the clearing type techniques that we use in medical Qigong and in other clearing practices, that needs to be physically cleared out of your body, especially through the channels. And then your energy is fortified. And of course, you're moving back into alignment. Then you're moving into your next day in a clear alignment. So the physical things that you're taking on are not only things like shoulder pain, but sometimes you can come home and you feel like a heaviness, or over the next couple days, you feel like a heaviness in your body or a heaviness in your breath. That can also be a lot of the emotional issues that you've been dealing with, especially with grief, but it doesn't have to be grief. It could be anything that you are exposed to. A general feeling of being tired. And that can really show that there's been a lot of energy drain, that you've given a lot of energy and you haven't replenished it, or you've taken on a great deal of fatigue energy from your clients. Another thing that happens is emotional instability. So you find yourself a little irritated or a little bit aggressive in certain ways. And that's also a sign of emotional energy. If that's not your typical personality, so this is what's important. This is why you really have to be so honest with yourself, and why all of the work needs to be done first on yourself when you're a healing practitioner before you're working with other people, is because if that's not your personality and you're finding that you're very irritable, you're very jumpy, you're reacting to people in a different way, that can be energy that you have in your field that you've taken on that needs to be addressed and needs to be cleared. So when you really pay attention to this, and of course, understanding that energy is real, that these emotional exchanges are real, and that there is a frequency exchange. Key with this is knowing your own personality, knowing your own healing journey, your own energy levels, meaning, are you a person who has a lot of energy, or are you depleted from your own personal overwork or experiences in your life? Are you nourishing yourself with healthy foods and hydration? Are you getting enough rest, right? So all of that is your responsibility. If you're depleted, if you're not nourished, if you're dealing with your own stuff, yeah, you're going to feel drained after you work with clients because you're expending energy that you really don't have. So that's really knowing yourself, but understanding the emotional things that you've been through. And is the exchange that you're having with a client, is it triggering something in yourself, or with a family member? Is it triggering an unresolved healing within yourself, versus taking on energy from the exchanges that you had that day and needing to clear that? So you can have energy exchanges that trigger things in you, and you can have energy exchanges that sit in your energetic field as a frequency that begin to weigh you down. And that's why when we say energetic attachments begin to drain your energy as you're attaching your energy with people. Think of cords coming out from your body in all different directions, not just your chakras, but I mean everywhere. Think of all of the connections that we have. And when we talk about connections, we're not only talking about with people. You and I, right now, we have an energy connection. I'm sharing with you. You're taking the time to watch, to listen, to absorb the information. All of these connections create an energy cord, they create an exchange of energy. When that exchange is done, it's very important to let the cording go, to let the connection go. When we talk about people are carrying things all throughout their life, it's because they never let things go. And energy is not easy to see. And so, unless you're really paying attention to it, unless you're tuning into it, you're going to miss all of the connections. When you learn how to tune into it, it can be overwhelming at first to see, oh my goodness, so many things are coming out from me, and so many things are coming towards me, and I'm connected and immersed in so many things. And then understanding that you can give yourself a lot of space from those things. I would love to know from you what you experience with energetic attachments. Do you have a clearing routine? What do you notice emotionally and physically with the exchanges in your life? How sensitive are you to energy? I would love to hear in the comments. And of course, if you're interested in learning the techniques to tune in and to release the energetic attachments and to create energetic protection from a medical Qigong point of view, I would love to share that with you. I teach an energetic protection 101 course. It's taught at different times of the year. You can go to the link below and join the waitlist for energetic protection, and you'll get all of the information. But for today, I just gently and lovingly suggest that you take some time to tune into your energy, that you allow yourself the space to really tune in and see what you are holding, what you are carrying with you, and knowing that you deserve to be able to let that go. You don't have to carry it all. You give so much as a holistic and spiritual practitioner, and it's time to let it go. Thank you for joining me. I will see you in the next episode.